Hello, 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 Paul.
Hey, give me 1 second. Let me fix my audio.
Okay, we are live, but okay, I will wait.
Yeah, 1 sec, 1 sec.
Okay, okay, no problem. Good to see you.
To see you too. It's been too long.
Yes,
Is
yes,
is,
yes, yes.
is that
If you
audio? Is
can,
that audio better?
what's that?
Is that audio a little bit better? I know if I don't use headphones, if I don't put an earbud in, my audio is usually bad.
Not bad, not bad. I understand everything. It is better than Ivan Matushenko's yesterday. It was just yeah,
How are you?
yes. Good, good, good. Seriously, it's good to see you, and it will be very good to see you in Istanbul. How long has it been since we didn't see each
I
other?
don't know. It
Don't tell me.
probably hasn't. It
Don't tell
hasn't
me
been
it has
that
been a
long.
year. Has it been
It
a
might.
year or something?
No, it can't been a year. It couldn't have been a year.
You sure?
It could. I don't know. I
It
don't know.
could. Listen, you didn't come to the November events
Yeah.
last year, and
Yeah.
then you were in the August event, but I wasn't there.
Oh,
And
right. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
were not in July event. Were
Yeah.
you in the Devon versus Levan event?
No.
So we
Oh,
like
yeah. No, I wasn't.
so
Yeah. It's
probably
been
we saw each other maybe East versus West 11 beginning of the last year.
yes.
So I think so. It is like 15 months we didn't see each other.
That's
I mean, in
wild. It
person.
feels everything's moved so fast that it feels like
Yeah,
yesterday. But I'm glad to be coming back to Istanbul. I miss it. I miss it.
yeah, yeah. Same,
I,
same.
I'm at.
Istanbul misses you too.
I'm strangely comfortable there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You should be. That is like really. It is always good to see you. But as you said, like we have done a lot of things all together that like I don't even like I lost the time, you understand, like when was what, like I
Yeah.
don't even remember like exactly, I know the date but just I can't measure the time that first time you pull
Yeah.
Samushia. I think it was East versus
Three.
West 3, or
Yep.
it was like May
Yeah.
2022. Yeah,
Yep.
but I could say it was 5 years ago. I don't know, like it feels
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Well, everything's been nonstop since the beginning. I mean, pretty much from East versus West 2 on, it's been nonstop, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
been like every couple months.
yeah, yeah. And now, since Robert get involved, so it is like now every 6 weeks, and that we are heavily involved.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, but it is going very good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing how far it's come already, when you think about the beginning and the first one that was
yeah,
crowdfunded, you know, like and all
yeah,
the
yeah,
effort that went during COVID. It feels like COVID, like it feels like that was like 5 years, I guess it has been 5 years, but it feels like forever ago, but it also feels like yesterday,
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost like
Weird, weird, weird. Like I mean, sometimes it looks like yesterday. Sometimes it looks like it was decade ago. I don't
yep.
know. I don't know. Yeah. So, and some people think that now Samusha improved a lot, and I try to tell them that yes, but also Paul improved a lot. Hello, Roman.
Hello, guys. Hello.
What's up, Roman? How you
Hello,
doing,
Engin.
buddy?
Hello, Paul. Doing great, buddy. Long time no see.
I know that's what we were just talking about. It's been too long, huh? It feels like yesterday,
Yeah,
but it feels like forever.
yeah, man. I mean, time flies. We progress
Yeah.
and we miss each other.
Roman, have you reached?
Yeah.
Have you reached the Samusha?
I've sent him message and I'm waiting. I'm sure he will join in
I,
soon.
I
So I
sent
will
him the
message
link.
him on
He saw
Instagram
the
as well.
link. He saw the link, but
Eh?
I don't know when he's coming. But uh,
Let me contact him
so
again.
Pauline, Your match with Rustem Babayev was very, very good. And that is the match that you surprised me the most. When I say surprise, it's not about winning or losing, but usually the Paul we know that either wins, in offensive position, and then like not in the match if the match is long. But that was a match that you went back and forth, yeah. But we couldn't see the same thing against Krasimir. I mean, you still gave him some trouble. You were again as expected. You were offensive, but there, like, is it because 95 kilo is more of your category than 105?
Well, I don't want to say that completely. I think the version of Krasnir that's pulling right now, after seeing him pull against Frank Lamparelli and just
Mm-hmm.
his just talking to him about
Difference, huh?
his prep for Todd. I think a lot of people during that match had me as the favorite just based off of Lachlan and my match. And I think
Yeah.
that was skewed data coming into it. And I think that Krasimir, trained really, really hard for Todd. And, after talking to him, he was disappointed with that outcome and continued to train really, really hard. And I think, I think that his next
Krasimir's
match,
back.
yes, I think I think like I don't want to take anything away from him and say like I'm better at 95. That's not an excuse I would be willing to make. I just think his form right there was really good. And I learned a lot from that match without getting into a whole bunch of detail. His prep for me and his style that he kind of set up and loaded with was not
Mm-hmm.
what I was prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
I misjudged like the areas to focus on, and I was
Mm-hmm.
off
So
balance
you
the whole
learned
time.
something more, huh?
Yeah, he out prepared me. In my opinion, I think he took the right road. I took the wrong road, and I think he flat out arm wrestled me. And I also think that I have a pretty good hunch that he is going to be trouble for people that people don't expect coming up here shortly. And I even
Mm-hmm.
spoke to Rustem about it right after the match, and he was like, "I had a feeling you were going to have a stylistic issue with Krasimir," and he said because he has had that same stylistic issue with Krasimir, and Rustam and I have some similarities in
Mm-hmm.
in our attack plan. So yeah, no, I think Krasi is the man, and it was awesome. Uh, but I was never able to access anything where I felt like I could really work. He just neutralized me.
Mm. I mean, for sure, he's very experienced. First time I saw him, I mentioned this before many times. It was 2006, Manchester Wars. He was a junior puller. He was 18 years old, and he won that world title in junior category. So he has been around for 17 years, and shortly after that event, he started to be very competitive in the seniors. And yeah, he's very experienced. Whenever we remember the athletes that he has defeated, like Gennady, like Levan, John Brzezinski,
Yeah,
and some other greats, Arsen Liliev, and so he is incredible. But I think he's coming back to his best shape again.
I think so too. I
Yeah.
really think he's trending back up. We talked about in the lead up, like the peaks and valleys that every arm wrestler goes through for whatever reason. Maybe it's injury, maybe it's life situations, maybe it's ability to commit time to training, whatever those things may be. Um, like every great arm wrestler, there are ebbs and flows in that in your path, and I think that he is in one of those flows where he is on his way up, and I think he's going. I'm very anxious to see him pull in the future against some of the top guys, especially
Mhm.
inside. I'd really like to uh, see him and Rustam maybe at a catch weight. I'd just be that to me is like kind of like a fantasy match for me. Like that's like if I get to pick things, that's one I'd
Did
like
you
to
did
see
you
again.
did you did you know that they have pulled in the past? I think
Yes,
they pulled at the Senecant. Senecant probably 15 years ago around that time.
yeah, it's
And
been a while, right?
Rustam top rolled him.
Yes,
Yeah,
yep.
Rustam went outside. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's interesting to me. I'd like to see, if that would even be something that came into play, you know, or if that lane was even available now for Ruslan.
I don't know. Rustem seems like he is a great hook puller, which is true.
Mhm.
And I cannot say enough of good words about Rustem.
Oh, I
But
know.
trust me, he can do some other things as well. He can do straight side pressure. He can do top roll. He can go
Yep.
deep inside. Just Rustem is no doubt. Just a legend. And Krasimir is the same legend. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a match that I'm looking forward to on this card big time. Him and Todd rematch. Like I think that's going
Oh,
to be awesome because
oh,
I think Rustam is, when he came back into East versus West, he was coming off a hiatus, and I think
yeah,
every single match that he has pulled since then, he has looked notably better.
better.
Whether he
Yeah,
was,
you're right.
yeah, whether he was opposed really hard or not. I think even his last match against Andres was so one-sided, and I thought, like, I had him pick to win, but
I didn't think that would happen. The one-sided.
no,
I didn't. It
I didn't either.
was no disrespect to Sandris, but it was easy. And it is because Rustem didn't make any mistake, and Rustem attacked the right lane. Rustem is close to perfect about
Yes,
pulling, and Sandris
everything. It's like
Sandris didn't
poetry,
didn't
like how
really.
quick he does. Yeah,
Yeah, like you don't meet someone like Rustam often because he is a
yeah,
special one. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. But the categories are getting tougher, huh?
Absolutely. Every single event,
But
somebody new shows up and shakes everything
yeah,
up. The young
yeah.
guys are coming into their own. The rest of us old guys trying to hang on.
Come on, you in my book, you are not old guy
I
because you
know, I
started
know.
late. You are maybe your model is old, but the mileage is very little. Not very little, but maybe like 10 years. How long have you been involved in armors? 10 years?
Oh, no, like 8, almost 9. Yeah.
If
It's
you are
nothing,
8 years,
man. Eight,
8, 9 years
nothing.
you are in arm wrestling and you manage to win the East versus West world title, your improvement is really a success story. It doesn't matter, like if you are not champion right now or something, but like how much you progress is seriously amazing. Like you're gonna,
Yeah, I've been talking a lot with Uncle Todd Hutchings. He's such an
yeah.
inspiration, in that, we started at the same age and that he truly believes that he's getting better and that he has 5, 10 more years. So to me, it
Sorry.
feels
Repeat
like
again. How many years?
5 to 10. He says 5 to 10 legitimately. Yeah, yeah. And he's not,
Incredible.
I don't think he's joking. He's like, my numbers are moving steadily and, I'm getting better and I'm not going anywhere until I stop getting better. So
Listen,
like,
listen, Paul. Imagine him being 68 years old and pulling up for a title match against a 25 years old.
I think
It would be.
if he stays healthy, knock on wood, nothing bad happens. Like that's a legitimate possibility for that guy, you know?
Well, I mean,
And,
but
and that,
listen. Yes, I know it is possible, but when you think about it, like someone just say 65 years old and like good enough to go a title match or something, it is just unbelievable. Like
well, so we've been digging into, his conjugate method in West Side Barbell. And he's been calling me a dummy for years for not committing myself to it. And I've always like kind of told myself that side pressure training was like the ace up my sleeve that I didn't need to use yet. So I never traditionally trained side pressure at all. I train every aspect of arm wrestling except for side pressure, mainly just for joint health. And so I can continue to do the other general strength things. And he's been on me for years and making fun of me for not doing it. And after the Krasmir match, I committed wholeheartedly to his style and the conjugate method. So I wrote up
really.
like, yeah, an individualistic program for my needs based off of his recommendation. So since the Krasny match, it's been full blown conjugate method, Todd style. and I've adapted a little bit. But like what I've noticed is, it kills your elbows because the volume and the
Mm-hmm.
intensity. But over the course of like 4 to 6 weeks, my elbows now feel better than ever. So it's interesting that I think the longevity that he has in the sport may actually be associated to his style of training that a lot of people think is detrimental. So this is an experiment for me. I told him I've had to pull back on some of my main gym lifts, and I'm tracking those numbers less, like my just general strength stuff, and I'm tracking the side pressure and these 1 rep maxes on the table a lot more closely. And it's been, like I said, it's been interesting. My numbers have steadily been going up, and my elbow feels good. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the way.
Yeah.
Maybe he wrote the best plan. I don't know.
Yes, the beef curtains. Pauline, when will you move to super heavyweight?
Never, never.
The, the
my
French,
wife,
the
my
French,
my wife will leave me.
the French Reaper. What you think of Pickup versus Burzing for last match?
One last match.
John Burzing just had surgery for his
Yeah.
back, and DB talks. Paul, last time you faced Samushia, you were 100 kg and he was 87 kg. That match was close. With the weight being the same now, can you still beat him? Okay, before Paul answers that, um, Samusha just shared a picture maybe 4 days ago, and he said he's 88 kilos. So probably he's gonna end up 90, 91 kilo, while Paul will be 95. Yeah, it will not be the same, but still, I think that since Paul cannot make 85 kilo, that was the only possibility. Do you agree that to meet at 95 kilo?
Yeah, I mean, like, so honestly, the version of me that showed up that first match at 100 kilograms, I'm weighing less than that now. Mainly because I want to focus on that 95, and I really want to make the cuts as efficient as possible. So I'm walking around maybe 97, 98, and I think that I'm stronger. I know that I'm a better arm wrestler. I can't say that I'm going to win, but I'm going to do my best for sure. So I think we'll definitely be closer in weight this time for sure. And I think really it depends on Samusha whether he wants to really just dip his toes into the 95 category or if he's bored with 85 and he wants to scale up and enter that class completely as to how close we are in weight.
I think he
I
wants
have
to
a quick question.
continue. What's that?
Yeah, sorry if I may. I have a quick
Go
question
ahead.
about on this regard. By the way, Samushia is trying to join in just to update you guys. Paul, were you really 100%, 100 kilogram? Because I think you were almost there, but not as heavy as there was in the comment. That's the first thing. And second thing, your match ended up very interesting to me because it was not a clean sheet. It was like sided and here and there, like 1-0, then 1-1-2, and we all know. So the question is, obviously that was Samushia's first match at the this East versus West, right? And since then he showed us that he can do different styles, like versatility wise, yeah. Especially this dead wrist press that he turned out to have good one, in my opinion. My question is, after you were done with the victory against him, since then, do you feel that you have, how can I say, learned the key to defeat him, or you still think that since his first match, which was against you, he progressed and you need to adapt to it? You needed to adapt to it up until this time.
So
Do
I
you
think
have a
there's a
key?
no, I don't have a key. I think so. Both of us, that being our first match, that was uncharted territory for us, both of us. And with the beat coming back into the game after a layoff and everything, and that being my first outing, we neither of us really knew what to expect other than looking at what had been on film prior. And I don't like. I think at that point, I just saw him as mainly a deep inside puller, and game plan was less in depth than the information that I have now, because obviously we've seen him make a huge run and pull a bunch of different ways. That said, I don't see like I don't look at Davit and say like, okay, there is an area of um, weakness that can be exploited. We've seen him do everything. We've seen him show a huge heart. Like, no, I don't have like a point that I can zero in on. Like, I have a game plan, but I didn't find anything that, oh my goodness, there's this weakness I have to exploit. The guy, I don't think the guy has a weakness. I'm reading the comments here, so I asked him for a double bicep.
Yeah, let me read that. It's a super chat. John Augustine says, "Give us a bicep flex, Captain America, the white orc for the win." And yeah, and so yeah, you asked if Paul was 100 kilo. Yes, he was 100 kilo.
Was he 100? Okay.
Yeah, because at that time our categories were different as far as I remember,
Yeah.
and I think it was Paul's first East versus West as well. You were not there at East versus West second year.
Yeah, I was 100, and the weird part of that too is I didn't know how the weigh-ins were going to happen. Like, miscommunication between Engen and I, so I cut the weight. I only had like 2 or 3 pounds to cut, like not a lot, but I did like a water load and everything, and I didn't drink anything. And I got off the plane and drove there, and I thought I was weighing in right away, and I was like confused about it. And then I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Maybe we're not weighing in. Who knows what's going on? So I ate some food, and then I had to cut again. So I was definitely 100. I think that was agreed upon weight, but I don't think
Yeah. It was 100 kilo. Agreed. Yeah, it was 100 kilo. Agreed.
My shape wasn't better then than it is now.
No. It was still beginning of your professional career. I know you have pulled some events, but East versus West level is a bit different. It's more international than the ones that you.
A bit, you say, a bit different, tiny bit.
Yeah. Because I cannot say that a lot because there are some great pullers over there as well. But yeah, this and about Samushia, you talk about the dead wrist. I don't know which style Paul is gonna pull, but Paul that I know really hits your pronator so hard with his wrist. That's what he does. He hit here so hard that unless Paul goes totally out, I don't think Davit will have any opportunity to do that wrist, because like that is what Paul does. It puts you in this position. Like he attacks there. Like you need to be someone like Irakli to really like stop Paul's attack.
I don't. Yeah, the key, I don't think the key to beating Samushia is top rolling him. I think we've learned that through some of the matches. I think when
you need to
Sacho got
control his
that,
pronator. You need to control his pronator. If you want to be, even you go outside, you shouldn't over pronate. Once you over pronate, then you will be vulnerable for that. Even you go outside, you have the pronator, but you need to also block his pronator. So then you can beat. Once you do this, then you are not getting any support from your bicep, and you are not having that elbow joint that you can use ulna and radius at the same time. Like once you turn that way, you are not using ulna anymore. You don't have that you are using 50% of your elbow joint, for the pressure. Like how much can you press that way if there was a cable machine? How much can you press that way?
Yeah, I mean, we saw exactly that breakdown happen against Sasha, and a great match. I love that match. Samusha has pulled in several of my favorite matches that I've ever been in person for, and that Sasha match was exactly that. Yeah, I couldn't believe that match wound up there, and I couldn't believe how it finished from there.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. Do you know where's Samushia?
He's multiple times trying to send, then he's switching the devices. He's having hard time to join, even though I sent him the same link. You also sent him, I'm sure. So, I mean, we are working. He says that he's working on it. He wants to change. He's changing the phone now, and
Sometimes you can copy the link and paste it in the browser. Sometimes that works. I've had that problem before too.
No, I will tell him also that one as a hint. He told me to give him like 3 or 5 minutes. He needs to log in the new device and stuff. But I'm constantly messaging with him.
Yeah, Türker Mehmet Taşkıran is asking, in case he defeats, who is next for Paul? I mean, I don't think that is like, I think it's early to talk what's next. But what do you think?
Yeah, no idea. No idea. Whatever
I think
makes most
Samushia is
sense.
serious enough opponent to have your 100% focus.
I have never in my life planned more than one match ahead or more than one game ahead. I think it's a flaw. I think it gets more tricky when you're approaching the top. In any sport, if you start preparing or giving mind space to the next match, you subconsciously give away some of your focus on what you have next on your plate. I've always been a big believer. You do everything in life one at a time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure, yeah. I mean, you may have a main goal, which is winning title, but yeah. So, and sometimes you know how close you are to a title match. Sometimes you know that you are. I mean, you understand. Like for example, in your case, beating Samushia is not going to give you the next match, title match, but you need to beat someone between you and title holder, someone.
Yep.
And then they can get because Samushia is new is in this category,
Yeah, there's no rush for me, and Michael Todd and I, close friends, we talk a lot, and I think we've talked about where he fits into the pecking order, and I think in some of his looming matches, it's dangerous to think about what happens when I win or what happens if I lose. What's the next one? Where's the next path? Like when you get close, like Mike, it can be a tricky catch-22 where you want to focus as much as humanly possible on that next match and worry as little as possible about what comes after it. But when you're at the top like that, it's so easy to fall into the what if scenarios. And the reality of it is, whether you win or lose, things usually wind up working out and your path winds up setting itself for you anyway. So for me, it's been better to just be reactive, take them one at a time. I'm thankful for where I'm at, and I'm thankful for the opportunities that are in front of me right now, and we'll see what comes later.
Okay, so till Samushia comes, maybe we can start having your predictions.
Sure.
Paul, honestly, you don't have to make me happy, but do you think the card is good?
Oh, dude. Are you
listen. I will tell you something. It looks like I'm trying to satisfy my ego, but it's not. Do you know how it is? I like to make community happy. I like to prepare those cards. Even when I'm making, I'm thinking, oh, people will love it. People will enjoy it. You understand? I do it like with love. You understand? And like whenever I see people like it, I'm very happy.
I see the new matches coming out and being announced, and I can just envision this scenario where Robert and Dexter are like, "Ain't no more matches, no more." This is too I can just imagine those conversations happening. Like, should we put them all on this card, or should we save this one for later?
No, I don't discuss. I don't discuss with Dexter, but
I know.
With Robert, yeah, we talk about it, and Robert is thinking that the event needs to be shorter, which from one side I agree, but from other side, if you have a league, international league, you need to give athletes matches, especially if you have contract with them. You know that there are some certain number of matches that we promised, and we know that some of these athletes can't get visa for US events. So while the event is over here, that athletes don't have visa problems, we need to give matches to those athletes. So we ended up agreeing with Roberts, 12 matches. Originally, it was like 10 matches, you know,
Yeah.
what I
I
and
know.
Robert agreed, you understand? And
I
Robert
know.
Robert knows that if it is up to me, it would go 15, 16, 17, it would go. And then
It
Well,
has gone to 15 already.
yeah.
I
You
have
know
done
that.
17. I have done 17 in Orlando. Paul knows, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 But I'll tell you the important caveat to that I think we need to think about from the big picture is now on the pay-per-view, you have a DVR function, meaning you can fast forward and rewind. So I can't tell you how many times I've had to jump onto the event late, and now I'm getting spoilers mid event, you know, through Facebook and everywhere else of who won. Now I can hop on that thing and I can rewind it. And if I don't want to watch a long setup, I can fast forward it. So if you're one of those people that complains about Devin setting up for 3 hours, well, you can fast forward. So to me, I can take that 4 hour event and I can cut out any downtime or commercials or whatever or dead space. And now I'm in control of it. I can make it 2 hours if I want to. So there's not really a complaint on it being too long anymore because the
Yeah.
fan or the person who's the viewer is in control.
Like from my point of view, I do empathy with the athletes. You understand? When I know the athletes are waiting for match, so it
Yeah.
is like it kills me to disappoint anyone. So
But
that is like that is my side, you know. Okay, Zurab versus Tautier.
that is number one. I've been waiting to see Zurab back. I'm ecstatic. You know, I've been over there with these guys so many times that I've become friends and fans of them. I think the match itself is super interesting, but I don't know how much everybody's been following Zurab's training. He looks
Mhm.
enormous.
Yeah,
His arm looks bigger than his quad, his upper leg. Um, he's been on a
Or
hiatus, and I
legs.
know, yeah, I I know the guy's motivation level. I think stylistically, it's a really interesting match, and it's going to probably be tough for Zurab to keep his hand. But we know he can pull without his wrist too. So I'm looking for that one to be a war. I'll be rooting for Zurab for sure. But I think that's the type of match that could steal the show.
yeah. Okay, Stanka says that I like Robert 20% less now because he is pushing for shorter events. No, 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 my friend. Robert is
No,
the one. Robert is a hero. You know,
yeah,
Robert is the one that when we needed to do U.S. events,
yeah,
he's the one
he's
that
joking.
he stepped in, you know, by leaving some of other businesses just for the love of arm wrestling. The reason he wants to do a little bit shorter, he thinks that, and I think he's right, that if you want to make the arm wrestling a mainstream sport, he says that the events cannot be that long, you know, and so that is not because he doesn't want many matches or something. And yeah, so anyway, so
No, yeah, he's
um,
joking. He's joking. That's just Robert
oh,
being,
okay. I don't
Robert
I
being a
don't
show
want people to
businessman.
have like
No,
misunderstanding about Robert's intention. Yeah. Türker Mehmet Han Taşkıran says, what is his analysis about Levan versus rematch, Hermes rematch? But we're gonna go there, but not now. We will go later to those predictions. Neil's index finger. Paul, just remember last match and make sure your endurance is on point because you need to be ready for the long game, I believe. We are all rooting for you here and you can win this.
yeah, that's been a focus. And again, I was telling Angan beforehand, I've shifted training styles again. And I've kind of, Hutchings pulls on the table 3 times a week. And I've started doing that as well. So
Yeah, I mean, I can see that you are looking more, I don't know, maybe I'm mistaken, but like you look more, how to say, not like muscle built, and I think your weight is also agreeing with me when you say like
yeah.
97. Usually you're
Mhm.
like over 100 kilo and cutting hard to 95. Now you look like more translated to arm wrestling, your physical shape.
Yeah, I think that's what I was hoping to get out of it. And number one, I mean, the side pressure, the conjugate method and everything is built, for not only peak strength, but also with the isometrics and some of the things that we're doing with the volume days. Like Todd said, the endurance comes along with the training. Like we're doing 1 rep maxes, but everything else is endurance based. And then the 3 days on the table with structured pulling, timed pulling, sets on the table. Hopefully that endurance comes along with that. I definitely feel more comfortable in that area. Just hoping all those pieces fall together correctly. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
You live and you learn.
Yeah, one guy mentioned that joining a Zoom call is tougher challenge for Samushia than defending his title 10 times in a row.
That's true.
That's a good one, right there.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I just talked
Yeah.
with him, and he's like he's watching the stream. He's saying Paul is too big, so he's still reconsidering his decisions.
Listen. Tell him.
Guy with gray hair.
It's not funny. Tell him he needs to come here, or
Yeah,
he's
I
gonna
told him.
start with already with 0-1. You know the match.
Oh, okay. I will message 0-1. I will message that.
Yeah. He better come. It's not good. You know. I mean,
He said 10 minutes. So
we set the time and he's not here. Why is that?
That comment was fun. It's really struggling to come in.
So why is he not like? How hard is it? You know, just
So
gonna go.
he's also in the car. That complicates the things. But his friend is with him, and his friends decide to give him the other phone, and now they are trying to somehow connect his friend's phone to Samushia Zoom and stuff like this. He said,
Paul,
around
we
10
didn't go
minutes.
deep detail about Zurab versus Tautier. So who's winning that match?
Man, I'm rooting for Zurab. I think Zurab is so. I think on paper, Tautiev poses a serious threat for Zurab. But knowing Zurab and knowing his time off and how he handled his injury and how hungry he is and how anxious he is to get back and watching his training, I just feel like this is going to be. I feel like it's Zurab's to lose. Like something is telling me that this guy is not coming back in anything less than his best form. But I do think stylistically, I think this match could steal the show. I think depending on how they match up power wise, center of the table, side pressure wise, I think we'll see Tautiev probably take the hand. And then the question is, can Zurab control and stop it from there? And we could wind up seeing. So I hope we see something similar like him and Ron Bass, which was one of the greatest arm wrestling matches I've watched in my entire life. That's what I'm rooting for. I really just want to, I don't want anybody to get hurt or anything, but I want to see a war.
Yeah.
And I think we can have it in that match.
I want to clarify something that like people ask, even though Robert and Dexter already explained that as far as I know, that Atlas had microphone in Arlington. There was a technical issue. That is why some of the matches you were able to hear the Atlas, and some matches you didn't have. You understand? And some haters wanted to relate with me. I don't know how that makes sense when I'm 10,000 kilometers away, and they seriously. I don't know what kind of mental illness they have, but. Listen, guys, that after I made a deal with Roberts, that kind of things are not even my lane. You understand? Yeah. I have nothing to do with the microphone or the camera or anything, but I know that was a problem, like, and it is going to be fixed. We are not taking away.
Look, man, look. That was the best. That was the best stage setup, optics, venue, and everything that could, that's a huge step in the right direction. We can't cry over those little things. We're making steps. There's going to be technical issues. That happens in every sporting event that's been around for 100 years.
Hopefully we will do everything better and without any mistakes. Yes, but mistakes, yes. But whenever you are accusing people for something which is not true, then it is just becoming so like really boring, Anyway, so you are saying that hello, Davit. Davit, you heard that you're gonna start them at 0-1 and you are here now.
He's sorry that he's so late, but yeah.
Roman,
All this time he was trying to fix. Yeah.
Roman, did you tell him about the 0-1? Did he read that?
დავით წაიკითხე მესიჯი მოგწერე ერთი თნურიდან დაიწყე ფახა შენ იმიტომ რომ ამდენი ხანი დააგვიანე I have sent him message
სულ ერთი თნულიდან ვიწყება თანახმოვარ
He's okay with that he deserves it
So we are thinking that that's why he came, he saw 0-1 he starts and then I'm joking, tell him that
გადავთო რა თქმა უნდა ხუმრობთ
მესმის
And Davit, your weight is 88 kilo 4 days ago. I thought you would be bigger. Like, are you still gaining weight? What's your weight right now?
მახსოვს 88 კილო იყავიო და მეგონა რომ უფრო დიდი იქნებოდიო და ახლა რამდენი ხარ წონითო? როგორ მიდისო შენი მომატების ამბებია?
მომატების ამბები ვერ მიდის ხლა კარგად, მაგრამ რა ვიცი 99-მდე ვარ თითქმის ეხა რა. ნუ ეხლა რო თქვა დიდი წონა რა მთავარია ფორმაში ვიყო და ჯანზე ვიყო და ეხლა წონის ამბავი თავისთავად რაღაც გავლენას იქონიოს, მაგრამ მე ვფიქრობ ეხლა გადამწყვეტი ფაქტორი არ იქნება ეხლა. ყოველ შემთხვევაში თავარი მაინც ძალაა რა. ხო და ვფიქრობ ნორმალურად ვარ მომზადებული ისე ვთქვათ.
He said that right now he's 89 kg, but in his mind he doesn't need to be like 95 to perform as he plans to perform. It will eventually all come down to how well he will be on that day prepared against Paul. And he's saying that I'm trying to gain weight, but like healthy way, and it's going slow. But he doesn't need to be really 95 to be satisfied by his form performance.
Tell him I know that. I tell him I know that feeling. Trying to gain and get it on.
Paul თქვა რომ მესმისო შენიო მეც ვიცი ეგეთ სიტუაციაო როცა მომატება ვცდილობ მასისასო და არ გამომდისო ჩემთქვაზე ვერ ვიმატებო და ესო ამიტომ ასე თქვა შენ გრძნობებში შედის
აჰა მე მაქსიმალურად ვემზადები ხა მაქსიმუმს ვაკეთებ რაც შემიძლია რომ მოვემზადო არ ამგონია მას მოხდეს მაგრამ თუ მოხდა ის რომ რაღაცა წავაგენ მაგდაგვარი მიზეზი არ იქნება წონის სამბავეს იქნება ძლიერი მაჯოებს და ძლიერი აჯოებს ეხა თორე ეგ მიზეზი არ იქნება
As he said, he's trying his best to gain his weight, but nevertheless, it will be if happens. He said it's a big if, but if it happens so that he loses the match, he will never blame it to the not being 95 kg. He just said that he just said that he's in shape. He feels in shape.
Can you ask him if this pause, since his last match, help him to recover? Like does his body respond better after some break because he was pulling every event, Yeah.
Pause, yeah. დავით ეხა შენ გამოგივიდა დიდი პაუზის გაკეთება, იმიტომ რომ ყველამ ვიცით რომ შენ თითქმის ივენთი არ გაგიმაზავსო, სულ პასტაიანად გამოდიოდიო და ეხაო შენი ბოლო გამარჯვებიდანო, ანუ ბოლო მატჩიდანო პაუზა გაქვს, ასე რომ თქვა რა შედარებითო და როგორი მოქმედა მან შენზეო, შენ ფორმაზე.
ნუ არ ვიცი ეხა, მაშინ ბოლოს კარგ ფორმაში ვიყავი და შეიძლება გამოჩნდა ხო და ეხა თითქმის კი არა ნახევარწლიანი პაუზა გამომივიდა რა. ხო და სამუშაო წონებით ესე თქვა ვარჯიშით ისევ იგივე წონაზე ვარ და ალბათ კარგად იმოქმედა დადებითად.
So he feels great. It's been almost 6 months pause. He feels great. No injuries, fully recovered. Weight-wise, like when it comes to the weight, heavy lifting, he's the same roughly as he was, no less. So he feels that this pause was good for him in general.
Yeah, that's good. And let's ask him about the Zurab versus Tauteo match.
Zurab, sorry. დავით, სანამ შემოხვიდოდი შენ მანამდე პაულს კითხა ზურას და ტაუტიევის მატჩზე. ამათმა დაიწყეს უკვე და ეს იყო პირველი კითხვა და ახლა შენი აზრით საინტერესებს. რას ფიქრობ?
ვიცით რომ ზურამ ძალიან ესეთი ტრავმა გადაიტანა ხო და რაღაც პერიოდი იქონია გავლენა მაგ ყველაფერმა ეხლა ხო და ეხლა ვიცი ზურას ფორმა მომზადების დონე ხო და ფიქრობ რომ მე ზურას ფიქრობ რა, ანუ იმიტომ კი არა რომ ქართველია და ჩემი მეგობარი თავისთავად მე ზურამ გაიმარჯვოს ეგ მინდა სულ და ყველას მოუგოს ასე თქვა, მაგრამ რეალურად რო ვიმსჯელო და ვილაპარაკო, უკვე ფიქრობ რომ ის ძველი ფორმა რაც იყო, ფიქრობ დაებრუნა კიდე და გაუმჯობესა. გამომდინარე ზურა თავისთავად.
He's like everybody else, he knows that Zurab is coming from the heavy injury, like devastating one. But recovery process, he knows that it's been going well for him lately. For Zurab, they kept in touch. He knows Zurab's current shape. He feels prepared, and it's not like because that they are Georgians that Samushia thinks Zurab will win, but also based on his current information on how well Zurab is recovered and is hungry to win, motivated, and also the shape. He believes this Tautiev's, considering Tautiev's last performance, that in his mind Zurab is favorite, and Zurab will end up winning.
Okay, another question for Samushia, since we had Paul a lot with Paul, and let David says a few things as well. Does David expect this match to be as hard as last time against Paul?
დავით შენ ბოლოს რო ანუ შენი პირველი მაჩი ხო იყო პოლის წინააღმდეგ ანუ აი მაგ მაჩს რო შეადარო შენი ეხლა პოლთან რიმაჩი ანუ ისე რთულ ბრძოლას ელოდები თუ უფრო რთულს თუ უფრო მარტივს პოლინს რო შეადარო შენი ბრძოლა
აჰა რთული ბრძოლა თავისთავად რთული ბრძოლა იქნება ეხლა ნუ პირველი იმის შემდეგ მე ძალიან განვითარდი მაგრამ ამავდროულად პაული ძალიან განვითარდა რა ანუ ისე არა მე განვითარდი და ის იგივე ადგილად დარჩი ისი ძალიან განვითარდა ეხლა ვიდეოებს და შეჯიბრებებს რო გადახედო ხვდები ჩემსას პაულის ვიდეოებსაც რო გადახედო როგორც მე განვითარდი ისე განვითარდა ისიც ხო და აქედან გამომდინარე რომ თქვა რომ რა იქნება როგორ იქნება ვფიქრობ რომ ის იქნება 50-50-ზე ჩემი გადმოსახედიდან ხა ჩემს გადმოსახედს ვიძახი ისე რაც შეეხება იმას მე მოსაგებად ჩამოვდივარ და გასამართლებლად ჩამოვდივარ
Obviously, he is gonna show up to win. That's his mission, and he's fully motivated for it. But objectively, in his mind, it's 50-50 because like he gained and got better in arm wrestling shape-wise after their first match, so did Paul in his mind. So it is hard for him to expect anything different or any easier match than it was first time. Which ends up him saying it's 50-50 in his mind. But like I stated, he thinks that he's coming there for a win.
Yeah. And another question. I think he's now 89 kilos, so my guess is he will end up 90 or 91 kilo. Like other than Paul, like does he have any plans, in this category? Any like winning title type of plans, or he thinks that he will remain too light with the weights for this category?
Davit, Paulis matchis შემდეგ გაქვს რაიმე გეგმა ამ კატეგორიაში თუ ფიქრობ რომ შენი თქვათ ეს წონა როგორც წესი ყოველთვის არის ხოლმე ნაკლები 95-ზე იმიტომ რომ შენი მონაცემებიდან გამომდინარე ეგრე არისო სულ ამბობ ანუ კითხვა ასეთია რომ აპირებ დარჩე კატეგორიაში გაქვს რამე სხვა გეგმები თუ რას აპირებ წამომავლად
ნუ ეხა აქედან იმის თქმა რომ მე მე ვიღებ გადაწყვეტილებას 95-ში გადავიდე ნაადრევი იქნება უშუალოდ შეჯიბრი გვანახებს რა ეხა პაულინი ერთ-ერთი ფავორიტია და ერთ-ერთი ძლიერი სპორტსმენია 95 კატეგორიაში ერთ-ერთი წამყვანი ლიდერი სპორტსმენია ხო და აი პაულინთან მატჩი მანახებს ყველაფერს ხო და შეიძლება დაფიქრება შეიძლება იმე გადაწყვეტილების მიღება რომ წონის შეცვლის ასე ვთქვათ მაგრამ ეს შეჯიბრი ალბათ ყველაფერს ნაცვლად მოფენს ასე ვთქვათ რა
It's hard for him to say prior to this match exactly about his plans on staying in 95 kg. He said that it heavily depends on results, how it will go. it will be determining solidly, so to say, that if he is satisfied with his own performance, he would think about staying in. But right now, he cannot say for sure, I'm gonna stay in this weight class and change my weight class.
He told me that he was gonna win the fourth belt permanently by winning 12 world title matches in 85 kilo. Does he still have such plan?
მახსოვს რომ მითხრაო რომ მეოთხე მუდმივი კამრის მოპოვებას ჩალიჩობსო რომ 12 გამარჯვებით დაასრულოსო და ანუ 10 გაქვს უკვე და რა ანუ ისევ ეს გაქვს გეგმაშიო აპირებო
ნუ ეხლა დაწყებული საქმეა და ბოლოში უნდა გავიდე ეხლა არ ვიცი როგორ გავალ წაგებით გავალ მოგებით გავალ შევინარჩუნებ არ შევინარჩუნებ მაგრამ ფაქტია რომ დაწყებული საქმეა და მაგი უეჭველი უნდა ჩავიდე ბოლოში რა ჩემი საკეთებელი უნდა გავაკეთო ეხლა და იქ რა მოხდება როგორ მოხდება არ ვიცი ეხლა სპორტია ყველაფერი ხდება ვერიტყვი რომ მე უეჭველი მაგას გავაკეთე მაგრამ ფაქტია რომ რაღაც დაწყებული საქმეა და ის ნაბიჯები რაც დაწყებული მაქვს უნდა დავასრულო რა
yes and he thinks that this career that he is being cementing in East versus West stage, it is like his steps that he has done, and it's like his job that he has started is yet to be finished, and he thinks that it is his must that he has to claim his fourth belt because since he did the last 10th defense, he needs 2 more. So fourth belt is the begun in his own mind, and he will pursue that goal. And after that, he will be satisfied.
I don't know who else can do that, in the future, but yeah, it looks very, very hard thing to do, Yeah. For some time, I want to come back, Davit, to Armwrestling back, and because of my weight, I'm always like, okay, if I'm coming back, and the weight that I can make is 85 kilo, and Samushia is there, so I train, and in my head, I cannot beat you, and then I quit training, So I decided to come back, but with compared to you, an easier opponent, but still very, very tough opponent against Mindaugas Tarasaiti. So when I have him as a target, so I somehow continue to have motivation. What does he think about this?
Davit, ეხლა რას მოაყოლა კარგი რაღაცა თქვა. ხო იცი რომ ახლა შენ ზონაში ესიც რა 85-ზე უამრავჯერ გაქვთ ჩემთან ერთადაც დასწრებულ ვარ მე მაგ შემთხვევას რომ უთქვამს რომ უნდა შევხვდეთ მე და შენო ერთმანეთსო რა ბოლო გადავწიოთო შენც გინდა ამასაც უნდა მაგრამ ფორმას უჩივის რა ფორმაში ვერ ვარო და ერთი იხუმრა კიდეც რომ აი რამდენი ვცდილობო რომ мотиваცია მეწყებაო რომ აუ მინდა და უნდა დავიწყო 85 კილო და რომ ხედავ რომ სამუშია დგას თავშიო აი мотиваცია ასე თქვათ აზრი არა აქვს ამას ხელს რა გადაუწესო ჩემს გონებაშიო მე ჯერ არ ვარ მზად რომ სამუშიას ხელი გადაუწიო მაგრამ ბოლოს დასძინა რომ ასე თქვათ სამუშიასთან შედარებით უფრო მარტივი ოპონენტი არისო ეს მინდაგუსიო ტარასაიტისი თუმცა მაინც რთული მეტოქიაო რა თქმა უნდა ჩემთვისაცო მინდაგუსი არა ხელს წამოსაკრავიო და აი იმის შემყურეო мотиваციას ვიმაღლებო რა ანუ ჯერ იმასთან ვწდიო ჩემბეც თუ შევატყვეო რომ კარგად გადაუწიე ხელიო მე ვეცდებიო რომ 85 კილოში უკვე სამუშიასკენაც წავიწიო რა მისი ოცნებას რო რას ფიქრობ რა დავსრულოთ შენი მე-12 მატჩით დავუსვათ
ჩემგან ძალიან დიდი კიბე თანახმოვარ პირიქით პატივია და სიამოვნებით დავდგები მაგედასთან ნეგინთან ერთად
if he has ever said the word yes this would be his biggest yes about accepting your match and he said that it's honor for him to stand beside like opposite side of the arm wrestling table and pull with you Engin whenever you
Yeah, but did you translate correct? Because I didn't say I want to pull him. I said he's too good. I said I'm going to pull him
But I told exactly well, like you said that you in your mind you still think that you are not able to, Right? He said that he wishes to pull with you.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's go. Lachlan versus Petro Marharent. Paul.
Oh, this is going to be a good one too because we know it's going inside. Lachlan looked great in his last outing against Lars, but I feel like Petro might be able to meet him in the center and probably control his pronation. I think it could be a really good match. I give a slight edge, like 55-45 to Petro.
And Davit?
შენ ვფიქრობ აბა ლახლანის და პეტრო მარჰარინტის მარჯვენა ხელზე?
მე ვფიქრობ, რომ ძალიან სხვადასხვა დონეები არის რა. ძალიან დომინანტურად, ძალიან ისე დამაჩებლად მოუგებს პეტრო ჩემი აზრით. სხვადასხვა ძალიან დიდი სხვაობა, ჩემი გადმოსახედიდან ძალიან დიდი სხვაობა იმ მატჩში რა.
From Davit's point of view, this is big. There's a gap, relatively big gap between these two athletes. In his mind, he thinks that Petro will be dominant victorious in dominant fashion.
Okay, this one I'm gonna ask to Paul. Jocelyn versus Egle.
Oh man, I am still learning about Jocelyn. So my first introduction to her was, I guess, that round robin where she beat Sarah. I was not expecting that level of control in the second match between her and Sarah. I thought that was going to be, I thought it was going to be a good match, but I thought it would be a back and forth. I thought there would be a window for Sarah to find and potentially outclass her based on experience. But that level of dominance was not what I expected. So, like, I know a lot of people in the comments and online are saying that Jocelyn is not ready for Egle. I don't know if that's true, you know, and I think it's tricky when somebody comes onto the scene and they immediately shoot kind of like to the top to a title match. I think, you know,
but
maybe
it's not title, you know, right? It's not title.
Yeah. Well, let's say let's say like in that discussion in a second match, you know what I mean? Like a pivotal match that could relate to a title match, or you know, we're within a year of that, depending on how things go. I think that can be a tricky thing for anybody, but Jocelyn is, I think, different. You know, I don't like, I have a hard time making a prediction on the match, but I do think she is well deserving of the opportunity and would not be surprised if she won it. I think as time goes on, even with a loss, if she were to lose and she does the right thing with that information and that experience, she's going to come back so much better, because I think she has all the tools. I mean, how many young ladies do we know that bench 315 pounds? You know, the natural skill set, but then also combining that with how well she clearly moves and understands arm wrestling. I think she has a really, really bright future, regardless of outcome.
And I think she's a smart woman that understands from arm wrestling. Ivan Matushenko versus Sergey Kalnishenko, Davit.
Davit, ივანის და კალინჩენკოს შეხვედრაზე რას ვფიქრობ?
მარჯვენა ხელში არის.
Yes. Oh, he asked if it's right arm.
Yeah, right arm.
Yeah, I told him.
ჩემთვის ფავორიტი გაუძლია მატუშენკო, ძალიან ტექნიკური არის, ძალიან ისეთი არის და მგონია რომ მატუშენკო მოუგებს. მიუხედავად იმისა, რომ ძალიან ძლიერია ის იმოწინააღმდეგე, მაგრამ მე მაინც მატუშენკოს ვფიქრობ.
Even though Kalninchenko is a very strong opponent for Ivan, Ivan's technicality or execution in technical way will be superior on the table, and he thinks.
Roman, can you remind him that it is 115 kilo match, not the super heavyweight series, but the 115 kilo.
შეგახსენა რომ 115 კილომდეა, 115-ზე მაღლა არა, ანუ კალინჩენკო იქნება 115 და ივანიც 115 კილოშია შეხვედრა.
მithumetes კატეგორია მატუშენკო მაგ კატეგორიაში იყო და მე ვფიქრობ ძალიან კარგად ის დამაჯლობად იქნება მაგ ზონაში.
Well, that plays even more advantage, also in more favor for Ivan, because Kalina can be, if he is bigger than 115, he would have more chances, but even now when it's 115, Ivan has advantage and more chances, according to Davit.
And Paul?
Yeah, I think so. Like looking at Sergey, even in like his first outing that I saw with him and Saranov, Sergey's great up top. If you try and top roll him, I think it's a problem. But once a match gets turned inside, I think that becomes a difficult spot for him at times. So if there is a weakness, maybe it is that inside game. And I think pairing that up with the fact that, Ivan is like one of the most efficient at setting a hook that probably ever lived. I mean, I've become a big fan of this guy after knowing him and studying him a little bit more. I would be amazed if Sergey can stay out on his hand, and I think that's the only way to beat him. I have a feeling that this one is probably going to go heavily in Ivan's favor, but you never know because Sergey's young and getting better. But I would probably put this 60-40 to Ivan.
Just for your information, I don't think Sergey is planning to top roll, Paul.
Well, that makes it even more fun. That makes it even more fun.
Yeah. Because I mean, like weighing same with Ivan and trying to top roll him and not having any plan B. That is just like I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it's best to fight fire with fire, not try and avoid it. Just go directly into it and get there a little bit faster.
Yeah. Let's go to Davit Dadikian versus Georgi Svetko. Davit, left arm, Leva.
Davit, აბა მარცხენა ხელშია გადაწევა, სუპერ მძიმე ზონა კატეგორია. სვეტკოვი და დადიკიანი.
დადიკიანი ბოლოს ხა ესეთ ფორმაშია, მე მაინც დადიკიანს ვფიქრობ რა. დადიკიანი 70-30 ესეთი შანსებით შევაფასებდი რა. დადიკიანი სასარგებლოდ.
Around 70 to 30% for Dadikian, he thinks Dadikian would take this one, considering his last performance on super heavyweight left arm.
And Paul?
Engin, let me ask you this, just because I might be not spun up. How much further behind would you put it percentage-wise for both of these guys, right arm versus left arm, in their individual categories? So, just so I understand, are either of them left-hand specialists outside of focusing on the right arm?
As far as I know, that when he was healthy, I think Georgi's left hand was better than his right arm.
Okay.
He has defeated Levan in the past, and left was Levan's better arm as well.
Yeah.
And then Georgi had serious injuries with left, and he didn't pull well, and the right one. And now I still think his right arm is ahead of his left, but I think that now left arm is healthier. And about Dadikian, when he was pulling the youth category in WAF, his left was better than his right. But now I think that both are same, but right arm now I think injured. I think he's not gonna put in a right arm match this year. And yeah, because I asked him, what do you think, about right arm matches? He said, Engin, it hurts. So once he says that, until he reaches me back and says, Engin, I'm ready, I won't even offer him anything with right arm, because I don't want him to push himself and make a mistake. These athletes, you can't find everywhere. You understand? These athletes are very special people, so we shouldn't tempt them, Anyway,
So with that information, I think I would maybe lean. My initial gut response to that was to have to think Georgi didn't have as much of a chance against Dadikan. I would have favored Dadikan off of gut instinct. But if Georgi has been resting his right arm and his left arm used to be better, and we're definitely going to have a big weight disparity, maybe he has better chances in this one. I mean, that information makes it hard to predict. I initially would have thought Dadikan, but I think you convinced me otherwise.
I think for me, if you ask me, anything can happen, because I will try to explain. I explained this before. Kurdecha is someone with left arm is just like more like going sideways, but he is not like he is more with right arm that is just taking the wrist and going. With left arm, I think he's so much like trust himself. Like, he's not really going outside to top roll. You saw he tried to do side pin against Morozov. It was a lighter Morozov after his stomach injury, but he still was able to hook him without the strap. You
Yeah.
understand? In the round one,
Yeah.
right away he hooked him. So and now also Dari can control Kurdecha's pronator, but Svetko is a top row specialist. Like Svetko doesn't try to pin you like this. He's more specialist for taking your wrist. So I'm not saying that he's gonna take Dadikan's wrist, but like Dadikan is someone that who needs to have cupping. You understand what I'm saying? So that we will see how good his cupping versus how good Georgi's pronator. People will say, "Oh, Devon beat Georgi." At that time, Devon was not as good as today with left arm, and Georgi was nowhere near to that, like where he is right now. At that time, he was weaker for sure. And if you remember, Devon beat him with a lot of like
Open
games,
top
not
roll,
not
yeah.
not like controlling his pronator with his wrist or something. So I expect that like anything that can like if Dadikan holds him and beats him with side pressure, I won't be surprised. If Svetko hangs him and Dadikan can't go because of Georgi's pronator, I won't be surprised. So anything can happen. But if Georgi wins, I think it will be a battle. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so let me go to another one, another left arm match. Kamil Yablonsky, Georgi Dizaronov, Davit.
ეს მარცხენა ხელია, ხო?
Leva.
ხო,
მარცხენა ხელზეა, ხო საუბარი?
კი.
რავი 50-50 ეს იმუშებოდ, იმიტომ რომ ძლიერია რა ჯაბლონსკი ძლიერია მარცხენაში, ზერანოვიც ძალიან ძლიერია ხო და თან ჰუკში იქნება ეს ბრძოლა რა. ორივე ერთი და იგივე სტილის მებრძოლი არის. 50-50 ძალიან საინტერესო ესეთი მატჩი იქნება ახლა ეს ამათი შეხვედრა რა. 50-50 რა შეუფასებდა.
He's saying 50-50. Both athletes are gonna end up in hook most likely, and neither of them are gonna back down from that style of pulling. In his mind, he thinks that it's gonna be 50-50. Hard to predict the winner.
And Paul?
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely going inside, and it's going to come down to speed. I think Georgi can stop Camille, and it'll come down to if he can get those stops with his shoulder forward, meeting him in a solid position. I think if the match, if Georgi can get there on time or early, I think he can win the match. But Camille is one of those guys that is just like evolving at light speed. So I feel like every time we see him, we see a better version. He's so motivated. He's got so much energy. He might come and just blow the doors off of it, But something tells me, I think Georgi, if he can get in there and get a stop, that he has a good chance of meeting him in the middle and being able to pull in a hook there.
Okay. And David, who is more crazy, Matt Mask or Nugo?
He did not need to translate.
Nugo ჩემი ძმა, ანუ ჯერ ერთი იმით დავიწყებ, რომ ძალიან ემოციური სპორტსმენია ორივე, ხო და აი სასაყული ბრძოლა იქნება, რა ვიცი. ძალიან სანახაობრივ, ხო და ჩემ შეჯიბრზე უფრო ველოდები მაგათ შეჯიბრს რა. ძალიან ემოციური იქნება, ხო და თავისთავად Nugo რა, აი ისეთი დარწმუნებული ვარ, რომ Nugo მოუგებს რომ რა, თან ვფიქრობ, რომ ძალიან ესე დომინანტ დაჩაგრავს რა, აი ესე მოუგებს რა. ძალიან ძლიერია Nugo, არის ერთ-ერთი ფავორიტია თავის წონეთ კატეგორიაში რა. 105-ში. ძალიან ძლიერი არის. მიუხედავად მისი პარამეტრებისა, სხვა ძალა აქვს და სხვა ადამიანია ვაფშე ხო და. ნუგო თავის ვიცით რომ მაგარ ფორმაში არის რა.
This match is very, very exciting to Davit. He just said, "This is both guys are extremely crazy," as he said, and he said like, "I don't know who is crazier, but like it's gonna be very exciting match." And no offense to you, Paul, but he is expecting this match. More, he finds exciting to himself more than his own match against you. That's how excited he is for this match.
I agree.
It's like he cannot wait until watch this match, right? And he said. Nugo, in his mind, is very in David's mind. Nugo is extremely capable in this weight class, despite Nugo's anthropometric parameters. Right? We all know that. David said that we know that Nugo is crazy and he's very strong. Lately, he keeps surprising him with his weight lifts, and he thought in the middle of the conversation, he said he thinks Nugo will just destroy Matt because I don't know. This is what he said, but it is nevertheless it will be a very crazy match to see.
And did Samushia see the match between Matt Mask and Ongarbev?
დავით, შენ ბოლოს თუ ნახე მათის მეტმესკის მატჩი ონგარბაევს რა უკნა?
კი ვნახე, როგორ არ ვნახე, მაგრამ ჩემი იმით ხა მე როგორც ვიცი, ონგარბევმა გაიკეთა იდაყოს ოპერაცია, პოსტტრაუმული ის ჰქონდა. კი ხა ის ახლა მიიღო გადაწყვეტილება, რომ გამოსულიყო შეჯიბრზე და მიიღო მონაწილეობა თავისთავად იმას არ აკნინებს, რომ მატმასკი სუსტია, მატმასკის ერთ-ერთი ფავორიტია და ისეთი ძლიერი სპორტსმენია, მაგრამ მე ვფიქრობ და ჩემი შეხედულებით მე როგორც დავინახე, არ იყო ონგარბაევის გამოსვლა ის, რაც რეალურად ონგარბაევი იყო ადრე რა. მე ვფიქრობ, რომ ბევრი რაღაცა აკლდა რა. ანუ არ მინდა ის გამომივიდეს ის ლაპარაკი, რომ აი მატმასკი სუსტია და აი ხვდები აი ეს რაღაცა ანუ ეგ არაფერ შუაში არა, მაგრამ ონგარბაევი ის რაც ადრე იყო, ის ონგარბაევი მე ვერ დავინახე იქ მაგედასთან ძალიან ისე იყო რა. მე ვფიქრობ, რომ რაღაც დრო ჭირდება. მე მაქვს ინფორმაცია, რომ ოპერაცია გაიკეთა, ხო და იმ ოპერაციიდან ოპერაციის გაკეთებიდან გამომდინარე ვერ იყო რა იმ ჯანზე რა. მე ესე დავინახე.
Obviously, he has seen this match. He said, "Yeah, I know for sure. I watched, and I know Matt Mask is very strong, but he doesn't want to diminish any achievements that Mask has been done in that match on that day. But in Samushia's mind, Ongarbaev, considering that he was coming from this elbow injury." He wasn't not at his best shape. In David's opinion, Ongarbaev could have pulled better, and prime Ongarbaev is yet to come. So he said this, but he also kept saying, "I don't want to take away anything that Matt Mask achieved," and he beat in a very dominant fashion. But in David's opinion, this match would not be just conclusion driving force to say, hey, he's gonna do the same thing to Nugo.
So he thinks that Nugo is gonna win. That's what he's saying, right?
Nugo მოუგებს ეს ამას ამბობ, ხო?
ძალიან დამაჯერებლად მოუგებს Nugo.
Very confidently and without any shadow of a doubt.
Wow. Let's see what Paul says as the representative of Team West.
ნახოთ პოლი რა სიტყვისა.
I think this is really interesting, and I mean, when you talk about energy that's going to be, put out during a match, like this is regardless of who wins, the stage will be on fire with these guys, and it's going to be some dramatic stuff, especially if it goes back and forth. It's going to get great, as far as entertainment goes. Both of them are natural at that. They're being themselves. They're not putting anything on. So I think, this is one of those like card stealing matches for sure. When you look at it from like who's going to win perspective, I think it's interesting. We talked earlier about Krasi and the ebbs and flows, right? We've seen Matt Mask do some amazing things in arm wrestling. Like we forget, some of the wins and how far he's gotten. And then, we've seen some ebbs where there were some back-to-back losses and things like that. from talking to Matt and knowing Matt and seeing what he's doing and where his energy and head's at, I think he is also in one of those good spaces that I predict Krasimir being in right now. I think he's back on that upward trajectory. The flip side of that is,
I think, in my opinion, Matt would know himself better, but I think he is in his best shape ever.
I think you're possibly right, but Nugo is such an X factor. Like his style, his energy, like his pure back pressure and pronation. I would venture to assume that it's probably close to like Iraklis, like if not right around the same range. Then you look at the anatomy of the whole thing. Matt's a long lever guy who tends to have his knuckle low. Nugo is a shorter lever guy who can be on the front of that pad and have his forearm vertical. So it comes down to how they negotiate the setup, because I do think it's going to be close. Like whether Matt can get his riser and keep his riser, or if he's forced to dump it, depending on his elbow position. Like those little things right there, I think could decide the outcome of the match. I think Nugo is incredible. I think he's amazing for the sport, but I have a feeling that the anatomy might play a bigger part in this one. And I think Matt is just on fire right now, and I think he's riding his momentum. And of course, I'm going to support my buddy from the West.
I can tell you one thing, that they both believe in themselves like 100%. Yep. Like they are coming like this without any doubt. They are coming like 100 miles an hour, right to each other.
And that's what makes the match so interesting. So round one, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. And then what happens with that confidence after that, regardless of which side wins or loses, that to me is going to be the interesting point. How does the energy bubble up after that win and that loss?
We should let them 10 rounds, just until their energy finishes, they can't scream anymore to each other, Anyway, so there is
I was so excited. Yeah,
number one arm wrestling fan, Engin. Great card. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Thank you to you fans that are supporting us. And let's go to in this crazy card. Artur Makarov versus Daniel Proopchuk. Davit, you go. Good match?
ძალიან მაგარი მატჩია და მე
very good match.
ძალიან ის სასწაული მატჩი იქნება, ხო და სულ იმაშვებოდი, რომ ეს აქამდე როგორ არ მოხდა, რომ ესენი აქამდე არ შეხვდნენ ერთმანეთს რა, ორივე წონის დომინანტები არიან, ძალიან წამყვანი სპორტსმენები არიან მაგ კატეგორიაში. რა შეეხება ვინმის აჯობებს, რა ვიცი, მე ვფიქრობ მაინც რომ პროკოპჩუკი.
He said that this gonna be
ძალიან ისეთი ბრძოლა მოუწევს ორივეს, ისეთი იქნება, რომ ვერც ერთი ადვილად ვერ მოუგებს ვერც ერთს.
ხო იცი 7 რაუნდი იქნება, ანუ 4-4-ზე უნდა გადაწერო.
ხო ვიცი. ეგ ვიცი, მაგრამ მე იმას გულისხმობ, რომ სიტყვაზე ერთმა რომ მოუგოს ვიღაცამ, რომ დაჩაგროს და მარტივად მოუგოს, ეს თეორიული შანსი არა ამის. მე ვფიქრობ, რომ ძალიან ისეთი ბრძოლა იქნება და ბრძოლაში მე ვფიქრობ, რომ პროკოპჩუკი მოუგებს მაკაროვს.
He said very good match, like miraculous match. It is like in his mind he has kind of surprised. He was surprised that this has never taken place before. Like he was like, how on earth we are getting this match so late? But like he's saying absolutely great match. He said it will definitely not be one-sided. It will be a great war. Some different trajectories could go. He said there will be adjustments from both sides. It's a 7-round. I said it's a 7-round, obviously, and reminded him. He said, obviously, I know. He said, for sure, it will gonna go about endurance, and in his mind, Proopchuk also will end up winning, finding some key moments in some key times, and in a great battle. Finally, Proopchuk will end up victorious, in Davit's opinion.
Paul?
Yeah, I'm rooting for Daniel. I think this has no choice but to be a war. I think it's going to come down to how well Daniel can probably control Arthur's pronator. I'm rooting for Daniel. To me, this one's 50-50. I don't know. You know, I'm very much looking forward to it because I think there's no way out of a long match. I think it's going to be long. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't think either guy has any quit in them, but I think it'll come down to pronator control and endurance and the hook. I don't think it's going to be a fast finish, but 50-50 for me.
Todd Peko says, Yo Engin, you got a match for Ryan Bellinger. He is ready to smash another East opponent. Anything is possible. Ryan is a good guy and good arm wrestler, strong. Yeah, very impressive guy. Yeah.
I think he's improving too. I've been watching him, some
Yeah.
of the stuff he's doing. I think he's getting better.
Yeah. And okay, so Gennady Quickwinia Ibrahim Sago, 115 kilo.
115 კილოში.
Mhm.
მე თავისთავად მინდა რომ გენადიმ გაიმარჯვოს. გულშემატკივრობ გენადის და თავისთავად საღვნიშნო ისე გენადის მოგება მიგნდა, მაგრამ ეს ბრძოლა იქნება ალბათ ჩემი გადმოსახედიდან 50-50-ზე. დავიწყებ იმით, რომ გენადი ძიმეწონაში იყო და არის დიდი ხანია. ნუ იქ ძალიან ბევრი ისეთი რაღაცაა, რომ წონის დაკლება, მერე ძალიან ბევრი ისეთი რაღაცაა, რომელიც არ მაძლევს მისთვის საშუალებას, რომ აი უეჭველი ესე მოხდება. მე ვფიქრობ 50-50-ზე 115 კატეგორია არის უწევს ასე თუ ისე გენადის რაღაც წონის დაკლება. ხო და არ ვიცი 50-50-ზე.
Yeah, he would estimate this match 50-50. Obviously, he's gonna root for his good friend Gennady. He didn't want to disclose all the role-playing details that he thinks will play a big role of Gennady's preparation, considering he's dropping down the weight. Also, that's another factor. That doesn't allow Samushia to like 100% say that this is gonna be Gennady's match. He wanted to say that it's gonna be 50-50. Both ways could go, and it will come down to how each guy is prepared for the opponent.
And Paul?
Well, as an honorary supporter of the nation of Georgia, I believe that Gennady is going to win this match. I think there's a lot of factors involved, and I really like Ibrahim, and I like his lane is so tricky. But I feel like Gennady coming down in weight, a lot of people question that weight cut, and it's hard not to. And I don't know how that's going for him, but I can lend him some assistance in the sauna before the weigh-in, and we can eat together afterwards.
You need that? You said you are 97.
Oh yeah. But I mean, I'm 97, and like, I'm gonna need the sauna a little bit for sure. I gain at least 2-3 pounds when I'm on the airplane. Okay. So I'll lend him some assistance, and then we can eat dinner together afterwards. But I think Gennady, in order to beat Ibrahim, you got to have the courage to meet him in the middle. And Gennady is a ball of courage. You know, as long as he can make that weight, like, I don't see this guy getting flashed like multiple times in a row. I see him meeting that match with bone structure, and at a bare minimum making it really, really good. But the guy doesn't have any quit in him, and it's like really hard not to like him and not to root for him. And I genuinely think that when he makes that weight, that I think he is the favorite. But we'll see. You know, best of luck to both of them.
Yep. Okay. Last two matches. Rustam Babayev versus Tatachin. Davit.
ეს ლეგენდარული ბრძოლა. მე როგორც ვიცი, ბაბაევს მოგება აქვს სულ მოუგო ხაჩინსკის, მაგრამ ხაჩინსკის ბოლონდროინდელი ფორმა ძალიან ისეთია, ხვდები რომ ძალიან ფორმაში არის ხო და 50-50-ზე ძალიან სანახაობრივი ბრძოლა იქნება, მაგრამ ვფიქრობ ორივე ლეგენდარული სპორტსმენი არის. ძალიან დიდი გამოცდილებით ხო და თან ორივე მაგარ ფორმაში არის. 50-50-ზე, აი ძალიან ისეთია, რომ ამ მატჩი, რო თქვა, რომ აი რომელი მოუგებს. ძალიან ახლოს არიან ორივე ერთმანეთთან რა. 50-50-ზე.
This match is very close. They are both legendary pullers. We all know their history as well. He knows that it has been one-sided till this day, but right now, when he estimates both athletes' current shapes and performance, he finds it very extremely close. He said 50-50. I cannot determine the winner in this case.
Paul?
In Todd we trust. Listen, this guy. So, no, honestly, if you take out the fact that I'm friends with both of these guys, I really love both of them. They're awesome people. It's easy to look back on previous outcomes and say, why can't Rustam do it again? Of course, he should be the favorite. And I do think Rustam is also coming into back into that peak form. That said, Todd has evolved. He's changed as a puller. He's changed as far as the things he focuses on. He's protected weak areas for himself. I don't think there's a vulnerability in the guy right now. In that, I think if you're going to beat Todd, you have to control his pronator, and sometimes you have to go at him. I think Rustam is one of the few people in the weight class that's willing to even test that water out. That's what makes this match so interesting. I don't think we're going to see a top roll attempt from Rustam. I think we're seeing an inside match unless Todd has success in the first round in there. That said, we've seen Todd lose in a deep hook to Dadakan only, who was probably, I don't know how big he was on the day of competition, but that was a war. So I do think that even though Todd is approaching 60 years old, I think he's bringing probably his best form that he has ever been in. And I do give him a slight favorite. And the guy, I can't say enough about the guy. We talked about him at the beginning of the podcast. I just don't think, especially with the history and knowing what I know about Todd and how he approaches things, you're going to get his best form for sure.
Paul, the question, how did you feel Rustam's hand and wrist when you tried to go outside against him?
The first time I pulled him, it's impossible. It's impossible. Irakli was able to top roll him twice. Rustam was also able to execute. He definitely contained him on the good side of the strap.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the best top roller probably maybe ever in that category. I don't know. That's yet to be determined. But if you can effectively hook the best dude that Todd didn't even attempt to hook, he just Todd rolled him. I don't think top roll is an option against Rustam. I think it's wasting a round.
So if you are saying this, and since you are very close to Todd, so you must be knowing something.
Yeah. So if I'm breaking the match down completely, the way for Rustam to win, if I'm being objective, it's not saying anything that he doesn't know already. The way for him to win is to beat Todd on the go and get him outside of his shoulder and onto his bicep. If there is pronation control and isolation of bicep, that's the only chance he has, in my opinion. If Todd turns his shoulder in any capacity, even with his pronator taken, completely supinated, he will win the match. If he can get this clicked in, it's probably over. But if on that go, Rustam can take him here before shoulder engagement, now there's a window.
Okay, soon to find out, how it will go. And let's go to the last match, Davit. Vitaly Laletin versus Michael Todd. I'm curious about this, about your opinion.
ყოველ შემთხვევაში, უეჭველი ბრძოლა იქნება, ბევრი ბრძოლა მოუწევს ორივეს, მაგრამ ფიქრობ მაინც ლალეტინი რა. უფრო ლალეტინი მოუგებს, ესე ვფიქრობ რა. ლალეტინი 70-30 ლალეტინი შესარგებლად.
It will be very difficult for both guys. In Davit's opinion, match will be still in favor of Vitaly Laletin, around maybe 70%. He said 70 to 30. But it will not be easy. Definitely there will be a war. There will be a two-sided, like back and forth. They both have to show their best, and eventually he thinks Vitaly has the tools to finish the job.
That is interesting, Roman, because like he said, it is gonna be a war, and Vitaly is
And
gonna
saying
win.
70
Yeah, and Vitaly has more chances. Like when he looks at these two athletes, Michael and Vitaly,
yeah.
who does he see as like with better endurance, in a war?
Yeah, I got your point. დავით, საინტერესოა რაც თქვა, ეხლა ანუ შენ თქვი რომ დაძაბული ორთაბძოლა იქნება და დაძაბულთა ორთაბძოლაში მოუგებს ვიტალიო და რამდენად აფასებ შენ ვიტალის შანსს რომ აი მატჩი რო გაჩერდება და დაიძაბება სიტუაცია, აი გამძლეობითაც და ყველანაირი ფაქტორიდან გამომდინარე რომ მაინც ვიტალი მოუგებს. ანუ თუ შეგიძლია რომ უფრო
ჩემი გამოსახედიდან ბრძოლა როგორი ხარ ტოდი თავისთავად სტილი ხარ ხვდები რომ გაშლილი მიწევს რა რაღაცა შეუძლია რომ რაღაც გაშლილად ესე ჩემთვის ეხლა ცოტა ესეთი წევა ეს ტრამული და ხერხული წევა მაგრამ ფაქტია რომ ძალიან ძლიერი აქვს ეს პოზიცია ხო და მაგას გამოიყენებს მოუწევს იტალისაც მოუწევს ანუ ძალიან ესეთ თულ პოზიციაში ბრძოლა მაგრამ შეუძლია მაჯამოტეხილიც იმასთანს რა ბევრი შემთხვევა იყო მასეთი რომ მაჯამოტეხილიც მიუხედავად იმისა რომ იმხელა გრძელი ხელი აქვს და ესეთი ხელი აქვს ყოველ გამოსავალს უპოულობს და ანუ მებრძოლია უნიკალური ხელი აქვს რა უნივერსალური ხელი აქვს ყოველ პოზიციაში შეიძლება შეუძლია რომ იბრძოლოს რა ბევრი შემთხვევა იყო ბევრი მაგალითია მაგასი რომ გამოვა სიტუაციაში გამოიყენა თავისი კოზერი ასე თქვა და ის რაღაცები
ხო შიც ბრძოლობს კრასი მითი ყველასთან ყველა მართალი ხარ
ისგან გამომდინარე
so he
ფიქრობ რომ მაინც ლალეთი
დამთავრე ხო კი ბატონო კაიჯიმა he said he explained himself why he thinks that in a tough battle Vitaly could still find the key and victory he said he expects Todd to do Michael to do his thing in an open upper way open up his arm as far as he can and do his thing basically what Michael is good at and in Davit's mind match will end up being there and fight will be there but in his mind he used specifically the word universal when it comes to estimation of Vitaly's arm like hand and arm he said that Vitaly's hand is universal in terms of pulling dead wrist as well. We have seen that Vitaly has pulled different styles. He can do good top roll. He can flop press. He can do hook as well.
Except Morozov, when did he win with the flop press?
I think he means when he flop pressed Chafee, but I will ask him.
Yeah, but Chafee match he lost, And it was Chafee that more times, pin him in such a way. And also we have seen Vitaly losing against in a strap match to Farid, and then Zaur. I have seen him losing, and he losing his wrist, and he couldn't press Hermes either. So like, but who knows? Maybe he's right. But I'm just trying to remember, the matches that Vitaly won.
Remind him, yeah.
Yeah, with the right arm. Just can you tell him which matches he remembers?
ძალიან ახლოს იქნება, ხა ეს ორი სპორტსმენი ძალიან ახლოს, მათი ფიზიკური მონაცემები და კიდე გამოსახედიდან ძალიან ახლოს არიან, მაგრამ რაღაც ნიუანსები წვითავს მე ბევრ რაღაცას ხო და ალიტინია.
გადაუთარგმნი და თან რა კითხა ხა ბოლოს იცი თუ გაიხსენებს მოროზოვის მატჩის გარდა როდის შეძლო ვიტალი მორო აი წართმეული მაჯით აი დაბრესოსო რა თუ ფიქრობ შენ თუ ელოდები რომ ვიტალი ამას უზამს მაიკლს იმიტომ რომ ალბათ მიდგება საქმე მაგაზე
საქმე მიდგება მაგაზე კი მიდგება უეჭველი მიდგება ხონდა ეხა თავისთავად ეხა ძალიან ისეთი სპორტსმენი არის ბევრი იქნება მაგას ნაფიქრი იმაზე, რომ მოუწევს მაგას გაკეთება ეხა თავისთავად ის სტილი აქვს, რომ მიიყვანს იქამდე, რომ მოუწევს მაგის გააკეთებს ბოლო სხვა გზას შუა დაუტოვებს, იძულებული იქნება რომ გააკეთოს ხო და თან ეხა იცის რომ ვისაც ხვდება, ექნება ნამოშევარი მაგაზე. ისე არის იმაში, ეხა ვალენტინია ბოლო იმას აუძახ რომ ტოდი ნაკლებია ვალენტინზე ბოლო შეჯიბრებიდან გამომდინარე თუნდაც ვინ როგორ ფორმაში არის, ჩემი აზრით აჯობებს ვალენტინი რა.
Other than Morozov's match, I asked the same question as you wanted. He could not name any specific match that Vitaly ended up flopping the guy and beating, but he heavily trusts right now on Vitaly's estimation during his preparation that Vitaly would assume the match would end up being in such a fashion that he has to flop press. And when Davit predicts that Vitaly will end up beating is based on Vitaly's distinctive, specific preparation for that position for Michael. Because in Davit's opinion, Vitaly should assume that match would go that way.
And he should be prepared.
And he thinks that Vitaly is preparing for that one.
Yeah.
And also he said, based on last matches, we are seeing some tendency of Vitaly using different styles other than just top rolling. So he just trusts.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to understand. And Paul, how you see this?
Well, I think this one's super interesting because of the title shot implications that are behind it. It's kind of like one of those like fork in the road matches, like the do or die matches. I talk to Michael all the time, and I think, every time he takes the loss, he goes back to the drawing board and figures out, where do I need to improve? He's changed some focus in his training. I know how much it means to him personally, and I'm sure it means exactly the same to Vitaly. On paper, anatomically, it's not even close, right? As far as like body structure, size, all those things. But you can't measure heart. And I think if that match stops, it's going to be a measurement of heart. So I believe Michael has the tools and the ability to pull this out. I am going to be 100% in his corner and behind him through this, and I do think Michael, especially after listening to other people break it down, I thought Ermi's perspective on the match was very interesting. But I think, this is a match that has to happen. I can't wait for it. But I'm supporting Michael all the way. And I do believe
no doubt about that one.
Has a chance. He has a chance for sure, and he has a good one.
Okay, so let's go to the last one, and there is a super chat. GP Winters says, Engin, can we see a match with Lukind? He won at Arlington. Anything is possible, my friend. Anything is possible, but no guarantee. Last one. Levan Saginashvili, Hermes Gasparini. Davit.
Levan, თავისთავად. ლევანი ძალიან დიდია, ძალიან ძლიერია, რა ვიცი. მოდიან ეხა მიუხედავად იმისა, რომ გასპარინი ძალიან ძლიერი არის, მე არ ამგონია წინააღმდეგობას გაუწიოს გასპარინმა. იყო იქ დუბაიში, რომ შევხვდნენ რაღაცა, იყო რომ იქ ცოტა გაუჭირდა საუბრად რაღაცა სუნთქვის პრობლემა შეექმნა და ასე შემდეგ, მაგრამ მე ვფიქრობ, რომ ისო მაგრად აჩაგრავს საგინაშვილი გასპარინს რა.
I got you. He said Levan, then he paused, and then he said again, self-explanatory Levan would be the winner. Then he added up that both guys are progressing since their last match. Considering Levan also had some performance issues last time, it came down to the help of the oxygen and stuff like this. He remembers that, obviously, but Davit Samushia thinks Levan has worked on that one, and Levan is aiming to outperform himself in their first match versus Hermes. he believes this time it will be even more one-sided towards to Levan than it was last time.
Paul?
Well, as somebody who once lived in Italy and somebody who would like to live in Georgia at some point, I'm kind of torn on this one. I think Hermes has gotten better from the first match, and I love the dude, but I'm kind of with Davit. I don't think Levan's ready to give up that crown yet, but I do think it's going to be very, very interesting as far as Hermes focuses and how they've shifted in that riser lift. I really, really think this is gonna be an interesting match where it those first few rounds are not potentially going to look like the first meeting. So I think when it comes down to the title, it's almost like Levan's choice whether he wants to keep it or not, based off of his own motivation level. And like we've seen the recent podcasts and heard what he said, about motivation and everything. I hope that that's not a factor. My gut tells me that his motivation isn't gone, and I think this is one, honestly, that even though he won 4-0 or however you want to look at it as 4-2, I think he probably wants this one as much as he wants any of them. This might realistically be the last match where he has that fire, that true motivation to get something back. I don't know. It depends on how long that motivation sticks, but I do believe it's here for this one. And I think it's really Levan's match to lose. So
I will tell you something. This match may be like the highest level of motivation for Levan. After the reaction of some people who made fun with Levan, and I think this is very personal. This is not only personal between Hermes and Levan, but Levan and the people who made fun with him, and I think that Levan is like really coming here. And Levan said he's gonna ask Hermes to pull all 6 rounds, and then he's gonna force him to come to the table, So it just shows that even he said, "Oh, it's nothing personal or something." I mean, I can see that, and he wants, to prove that he will be there even on the round 6, and he will make Hermes, in fact, quit or something. While Hermes is different. Hermes has also a warrior spirit, and Hermes knows arm wrestling very, very good, very, very good, and he knows what to expect. And I don't know if it's gonna be enough or not, but trust me, he's gonna come there at his best ever. And you see how Levan started to steer the pot. He said, like the fake weights, and then he said he can come to Tbilisi, and I teach him how to properly train and things like that. And Hermes says that those weights are real. And if Levan is thinking they are not real, it means that Levan is not capable of lifting those weights. It just shows that he's in trouble. That this is how Hermes, took those words. We will see that trust me, that is another match trust me, that match from Hermes' side, I think Hermes didn't go to Dubai to win that match last time. I think he went there to do his best. But in my opinion, now I don't know if he can do it or not. But Hermes is going there to win that match. But we will see. Maybe Levan is gonna beat him, and maybe I don't know. We will see. Number one arm wrestling fan. I watched my first super match, 2003, Tuller versus Selaris at Get a Grip, and I have been hooked ever since. I say thank you to all these great athletes. Yeah, I remember. Craig Tuller started to pull 85 kilo, and they had a war. Craig and Michael Selaris. Yeah. Anyway, so thank you very, very much, David Samushia. David, you are incredible. And one last question for David: who do you want next in 85? We don't want to talk about future matches, but the match that you have with Linn now is 95 kilo. While you said that after this one needs to be 85 kilo, who do you think that would be the best matchup for you?
დავით მადლობა გითხრა, ეს კი გაიგონე, თქვა რომ დაუჯერებლად წარმოუდგენელი მაგარი სპორტსმენი ხარ და ბოლო კითხვით მოგმართა რომ კიო ამბობ რომ 95 კატეგორიას შევხედავ თუ ეხა პოლთან როგორ იზამო და შენ თვითონ ჯერ არ გაქვს გადაწყვეტილი გაგრძელებაო, მაგრამ ისიც თქვიო რომ 85-ს არ ხარ ჯერ დამთავრებული 85-იო და ვის გეგმო შემდეგში მოწინააღმდეგეს 85 კატეგორიაში. თუ ყავს ვინმე მიზნად.
ალბათ აიდარხანი, რა ვიცი. გითხულობ ხოლმე რაღაც პოსტები და ისინი არის და ყველა აიდარხანს იმაშობა ისე რაღაც ის მინდოდა რომ კი აიდარხანი ძალიან ძლიერია, მაგრამ უკვე კრეიგტულმაც უკვე ორი ის მოიგო რა და უკვე უწევს მაგას, ანუ მაგამ რაღაც ის ეტაპები გაიარა, ესე ვთქვათ, რომ ფიქრობ რომ იმასა შანსი უნდა გქონდეს, რომ ეხლა წეღან ენგინ მახსენა კრეიგტულური და კრეიგტულურსაც შანსი ორი ის უკვე მოიგო, ხო და აქედან გამომდინარე უწევს მაგას ყველანაირი ისა აქვს, რომ მოუწიოს ეს თქვა ჩემთან შეჯიბი ხო და
I'm sure you guys heard two names that he mentioned. I will translate exactly. He said he has been following.
What?
He has been following the social medias and posts. Like he may not be active, but he's following actively. He's seeing that people are mentioning Aidarkhan's name constantly, and he thinks that Aidarkhan could be his next or one of the next opponents. And on the other side, also on the other side of the world, he mentioned Craig Tullier's name. Yeah. He said that Craig has been gone through the some steps. He used that word as well. He has done some steps. He has taken some steps and gone through the phases of which, based of which, Davit assumes that Craig also has earned his chance against him to give a rematch. So those two names he mentioned, and as I started to translate, he quickly also added up that he's gonna be ready to smash anyone.
Oh, he's ready to smash anyone. Oh, yeah. So he says that these are only details, before he gets his fourth belt, Yeah.
Two more matches, 12.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
And ask him one last thing, who is winning if I come back, I or Mindaugas?
The bonus
Not to be nice to me. Not to be nice to me.
არისო ჩემთანო ასე თქვა ზრდილობიანიო და თავაზიანიო პირდაპირ მომახალეო მითხარიო მე და მინაგუსიო გადავწევთო თუ დაუბრუნდიო ჩემი პირველი მატჩი ეგ იქნებაო და რას ფიქრობ
კატეგორიას გააჩნია კატეგორიაში იქნებია
depends on the weight class
now I am 91 and a half kilo the lowest I can go 85 I don't think I can lose 15 kilo to make 77 but maybe in the long term yeah
ახლა 91 ნახევარი ვარო მაგრამ ანუ 85-ში იქნებაო თუ გადავწყვეტთ.
ნაუ 50-50-ზე იქნება ჩემი აზრით, რომ ორივეს თანაბარი შანსი აქვს, ასე ვთქვათ. აი, მინდაუგასი ამოდის 85-ში?
He said 50-50, but he's kind of unsure. Is Mindagus able to pull up 85 kg or?
I mean, he is coming near to 80 kilo, but that is. I think he can do it, yeah. Maybe 79 kilo or something, yeah.
80 თუ იქნება, მინდაუგასი შანსი არ იქნება და თუ ეხა 85 გახდა და თუ კატეგორიაში იმასნა უკვე 50-50-ზე იმეშვებოდი, მაგრამ ეხა 80 და ის კატეგორია მე ფიქრობ ვერაფერს არ უზამს ინგლისს.
Again, he's not. He doesn't want you to take it as if he's nice to you, but he says that if Mindaugas gonna only show up 79, 80 kg, it will not be enough for him to beat you. But if it's 85 or close to 85 at least, it will be hard time.
But listen, I will be 85, but with tons of fat still,
85-ის კი ვიქნები, მაგრამ მეც არ ვიქნები კარფორმაში, მაინც მექნებაო ხიპი და ეს, გონებიო რა, მეც არ ვიქნები სუფთა წონაო, გაითვალისწინეო. ანუ არ იქნება მასიმალურად.
ჩემი აზრი როგორც ვისაუბრე მასე არის, რომ 85 თუ იქნება მაშინ აი აზრი არა აქ მე ვფიქრობ ძალიან ისე დამაჯლულად მოუგებს. აი თუ თვითონაც მოიმატა უკვე და მინდა უკასი გახდა 85 და უკვე 85 უკვე ძალიან საინტერესო ძალიან ახლოს იქნებიან რა. ხა ინგინიც ანუ მე რატო იძახეს ენგენი რომ ანუ ის ჩემ მაქსიმუმი რომ გავაკეთო და მაქსიმუმ მდგომარეობაში არა ვარ ანუ ფორმის პიკზე ესე ვთქვათ რა მაგრამ თუ გადაწყვიტა ენგინმა რომ შეჯიბროს ესე იგი ისე არ დაბრუნდა და ისე არ დაბრუნდება ესე იგი თვითონაც თავდაჯერებულია და ჯანზე არის ხო და ეს უკვე თულისა რა
And he said he reiterated that if Mindaugas pulls up closer to 85 kg, then match would be very good and entertaining. But if he's 80 kg or like less, maybe even, it would be very hard for him to beat you. And also, he said he trusts. He said he knows that if you decide to pull Mindaugas is a huge name. Pull Mindaugas in 85 kg, at 85 kg, Davit Samushia knows that you will be capable of beating him in that one. So it's hard for him to say that you will lose, but 50-50 would be if weights are close.
Yeah, when we were the same weight, I beat him 12 times anyways, you know.
ისიც თქვა რომ თანაბარი წონა როცა გქონდაო 12 ჯერ დავამარცხეო მაგრამ მაშინ 85-ის არც ერთი არ იყვნენ
70 ხო იყვნენ სოფლიო თასზე იყო ლოტი ტურზე იყო მე მეგრს მახსოვს მაგ ნაკურები ხო იყო მანდ
it was 70 kg Zloty finals he has seen it he has watched it one of the
yeah he won that only 4 weeks before that event I was 65 kilo at the WAF, so I was still really recovering, and still I took him, even pinned him. They didn't give it. Well, it's okay. He won those 2 times with the dead wrist, but then we pull a super match. I beat him right and left 5-0, 5-0.
ხმამა რამოდენიმე ის ხო იყო, რომ ცოტა ხმამაღალი განცხადებები ქონდა, რომ რამოდენიმეჯერ ხო გამოიწვია ენგენი. Mindaugas.
He also remembers that Mindaugas had some loud mouth and a couple times recent years he challenged you also he remembers that Mindaugas challenged you a couple times since your last matches
anyway
it would be interesting for him
we will see now after I now finish and go downstairs and train pronation. Thank you very much Davit, and see you in Istanbul. And Roman, take care my friend. Thank you very much for translation.
No problem, brother. My honor.
Კარგა
ჯიმა, მალადეც, აბა დროებით. ისურვებ წარმატებებს ჩემოძმა. Bye.
Yeah, I was 75, he was 73 and a half. If you think that the 1.5 kilo made the difference that I flashed him. Anyway, so